Hello, welcome to the State of Mystery podcast, where we talk about everything and anything spooky and creepy. If you want to know what we talk about here, it'll keep you up at night, or if it'll cause you to wonder about it for days. My name is Maria, and I'll be your host today. I normally have my wife with me here, but today I have Judith. She's sitting here with me. She is dressed up like a golden girl because she's been wearing this since Halloween, and she wanted to make an appearance so I didn't look so lonely. But if you don't know me, I'm Maria. Thank you for tuning in. My wife is Leslie, and we're normally both here once a week for you on Sundays, or whenever I remember that I need to edit and upload, because I'm bad at that. But I'm going to come back, and I'm going to be consistent, hopefully posting every Sunday, once or twice a week. And today's episode is about skinwalkers. I'm kind of nervous to say this out loud because it's nighttime here, and I'm in my creepy, spooky room. And I have chairs. Look, hold on. I look professional. Okay, just imagine my wife there. Okay? Okay, cool. If you're watching this on YouTube, I look a little homeless, and that's just because it's nighttime. All my kids are finally in bed, and I wanted to talk. Okay? I wanted to talk. And I already told my wife this story, but my camera's broken. It's just a whole thing. Okay? Okay, so it was not very good. So, we're going to talk about skinwalkers. Do you believe in them? I really don't know what to think, okay? My son has always been obsessed with, like, the idea of skinwalkers. He always says that our animals kind of remind them. He'll be like, they have human eyes. I'll be like, Maria, did you see that? Our cat's eyes, they look like humans. Definitely a skinwalker. And so I always knew that skinwalkers were, like, humans, or like witches, or like evil entities that turned into things like coyotes or whatever, but there's a lot more to it. So this is about Skinwalker Ranch. So I'm going to tell you everything that I learned about Skinwalker Ranch and skinwalkers, and I just want to preface this by saying that I am new to this topic. I don't really know anything about indigenous culture except from what I've researched and I've gathered online. So I just want to make that note. And let's talk about something spooky. Okay. So what is a skinwalker? The origin of a skinwalker comes from the Navajo culture and refers to a witch that is able to possess, transform, or disguise into different animals. So like I just said, they're able to disguise themselves into different animals, possess different animals around them, become those animals, eat the cattle, do creepy shit, okay? So here's the history of the ranch. Located in Utah, there is a 512-acre property on the southern fringe of the Navajo Nation, which, to my understanding, Navajo Nation is like an Indian reservation that stretches from New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, but it's majorly, or majority, the majority of it is in Arizona, close to Flagstaff, which is close to the Grand Canyon. And can I just say, I love the Grand Canyon. It's like magical there, beautiful, amazing, euphoric experience, out of this world, really. Like, I don't know. Okay, anyways, maybe it was the elevation, but in love with the Grand Canyon. So it's very close to Navajo Nation, and all the areas in Navajo Nation are close to non-Navajos unless you have a valid camping, hiking, or backcountry permit issued by Navajo Parks and Recreations Department, which honestly, I think I understand, because when you're in your own little area, you know, and you have outsiders who have like caused chaos for so long, you know, why are you going to open up your area to everybody, especially with littering and like the disrespect of property and animals? Like, I get it. Nice. Going back to the property and ranch, it was previously known as Sherman Ranch, but more commonly known now as Skinwalker Ranch. It is said that a historical feud between the Ute and Navajo tribes led to the Navajo cursing the land that Sherman Ranch was built on. Let's talk about the feud, okay? The feud goes deep. The feud between the Ute and Navajo is said that the Ute had a long-standing feud within many tribes, but more specifically the Navajo, because of their practice of capturing women and children and then selling them to European settlers. I wouldn't want to be their friend either if they were doing that shit behind my back. But then I also read that the Ute helped out, oust the Navajo from their land in the Four Corners area, which if you don't know, the Four Corners area is an area where the states meet at a single point. So Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah, they all meet at a single point. It's called Four Corners. I learned a lot, okay? And I want to go everywhere now. So they believe that there was a feud because of this, and then the Navajo cursed the land. So I've read different things, but maybe it's a mixture of both. Maybe it's not a mixture of any. I don't know. This is what Google tells me. So, allegedly, this caused the Navajo to curse the land, allegedly unleashing skinwalkers within the Ute's territory, which was located near what is now known as the Skinwalker Ranch. Which I've heard that if you say that word too many times, it can cause them to come around. Why do I still have my hood on? Hello, I'm under here. Yeah, so I've heard that you don't want to whistle at night. You don't want to say that word too many times because it can cause things and unwanted things coming around that you don't want to deal with. Hey, just don't want to deal with that. So in 1905, Monk Chavan, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, okay, I'll put it on the screen, and his wife, who are said to be part of the Ute tribe, are granted land in one of the three of the lots that were there at the time. So there were 3 lots, and Monk Chavan lived there from 1905 to 1916, and then Henry Litster came on the property. He was like, hey, can I have one of these pieces? And he was like, sure, man. 1914 to 1945, Henry Litster lives there, 29 years. And then Kenneth and Edith Myers lived there for 60 years. Then Benton Locke, which most of these people are quiet about the ranch. They're quiet. And I have heard some people saying that some of the eeriness of Sherman Ranch goes back to the 1600s, but I was only able to find stuff from 1994, 1996, when Terry and Gwen Sherman started living there. So they lived there for 2 years, and then they sold it to Robert Bigelow, and then now Brendan Fugel owns it. So, early reports talk about seeing strange things starting from the 1600s, but the first actual documented sightings were started in 1950s, where they claimed to be seeing UFOs off in the distance. Okay? I couldn't find specific names until we get to the Shermans. Okay? The Shermans who purchased the ranch in 1994 reported a series of unexplained events, including sightings of UFOs, cattle mutilations, and appearances of large wolf-like creatures. But how do we know these were skinwalkers, and what if they were just like Edward and Jacob hanging around? What if it was just like a werewolf? Okay? I don't know. Okay? Could be anything. Could be a skinwalker. Okay? I'm not saying it couldn't be. Okay? So this struck a lot of media attention, which I can understand. It's like the 1990s. A lot of people aren't really open to this. I think now, as a society, we're more open to different things, and still we aren't. But there's a lot more going on, and a lot more openness surrounding a lot of things. I mean, and so recently. So then Robert Bigelow purchases this 2 years after the Shermans bought it. Robert was a founder of the National Institute of Discovery of Science, who intended to investigate the paranormal claims. So that was his intention with the ranch. He was going to come in and he was going to investigate everything. And then, in 1997, a biochemist, Colum Keller, claimed to have seen a large humanoid creature. In 1998, a police officer saw a large plunge into the Bottle Hollow Reservoir and then re-emerged flying off into the sky, which which is very close to this ranch. 4 young men in 2002 said that they were standing near a shoreline and saw a blue-white ball entering the artificial lake, which is also by Skinwalker Ranch. So, the investigation of NIDS's investigation, or the National Institute for Discovery of Science, they conducted research at the ranch for decades, but eventually abandoned the investigation completely, got rid of investigation. I don't know why. Okay, and then this is where it gets interesting. Then they started a show in 2020 called The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, and it's still going on. It has 5 seasons so far, and they're about to come out with the 6th. And it's the History Channel docuseries, The Secret of the Skinwalker Ranch. And now there's been continued reports of this phenomenon and saying that they are focusing now on electromagnetic interference and unidentified aerial phenomenons that are there. But now the owner is Brandon Fugel, chairman of Callers International Intermountain. So the reports are still happening and they continue. But let's talk about this. I'm sure there's a lot more research out there. And I'm intrigued. And honestly, like, the thought that there's so many things out there and that there's so many legends and myths and so many stories, especially when it comes to like different histories from different cultures. I'm so intrigued by it and I would love to know more. So if you have heard of any of this stuff or any legends that are similar, please email me or send me a DM. My Instagram is Stateofmysterypodcast, okay, or pod, Stateofmysterypod. I don't know, I'll link it in the bio. You can email me, stateofmysterypodcast@gmail.com. You can comment here, okay? Not a lot of people listen. So I just want to know, because I want to know everything. And I'm so intrigued, and I have such an open mind, okay? But a lot of people think that this was a hoax created by the Shermans in order to get their property to sell for a higher value. And other people think this is real. And then other people think that there might have been some claim to it, and then they just ran with the money. I don't know, but I keep hearing creaking down here, and I'm a little creeped out because I'm down here by myself. So I'm gonna go. Okay, I love you. I'll see you next time. Sunday. Bye.